Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Huge Transformation Shows. I'm Sid, and today's guest is Molly Moran, and you're going to have, I hope you have as much fun as I am. Molly, how are you? I've got a little introduction for you, but first, how you doing? Thanks for being on the show.
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here, Sid. Thanks for having me.
Cool. And I love your headshot. It just says bright at the front, and it shows like, let's live bright. So for those of you that have never met or heard of Molly, she's from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Can you spell that for me, please?
I'm like, for real?
No. The founder of Green Sweep, which is a substantial eco-friendly house cleaning business in Albuquerque. You host the Live Bright podcast, and you have the Live Bright community, and you coach people and help them. And this speaks to me so resonantly. You help people make more money, have more fun, and have more freedom. And I am a freedom hound. That's my biggest motivator, and fun comes right after that, and money is third, but still important. So we're going to talk about that some. And this year, you and a handful of friends are hosting a live conference, a get together in Indianapolis?
It is. Yes.
Indianapolis in March, called CleanCon. And CleanCon, first time I heard the name, I was like, is this someone that got out of prison, doesn't have any tattoos? CleanCon?
That's good, Sid.
I'm like, no, it's a cleaning conference. Like, of course it is. And then the last part of my introduction, and probably the most important thing, is you have a dog named Bentley.
I do.
Bentley?
And we have another dog. We got Bentley a sibling a month ago, and his name is Leo. So we have Bentley.
Okay.
Leo. Yes.
Very good. What are the breeds of your dogs?
They're both little rescues. Leo is a Schnauzer. We just got his DNA back yesterday.
Okay.
And he came from a rescue in the Midwest. And Bentley is a Schnauzer. She's like a schnoodle, but she also has so Schnauzer, poodle. But she also has Husky and German Shepherd in her. And those are the things I always point out to people. Although she looks like a friggin' little poodle, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could probably live 25 years with a good mix like that. So.
Right. Let's hope. Awesome.
All right. Good. Oh, okay. We're going to talk about conferences later. This is all sidebar stuff before we actually get started. I met with a friend and one of my clients this morning, and she was talking about, she's an architect. She said she went to the big architect convention last year.
Okay.
And she said the vendor booth that absolutely was the top booth, most visited of all time. They put down AstroTurf, and they brought 10 puppies and had it in the booth where people could just sit down and play with puppies.
That's smart. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I can pull that off, but that is so smart.
Yeah, I was like, I want to be a vendor at somebody's show, and I'll take a bunch of puppies and popsicles and just have a blast.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, cool. Well, let's go back toward the beginning of your business career. As far as like was Clean Sweep, was that the Green Sweep? Sorry, Green Sweep, CleanCon. Green Sweep, was that the first business you started, or did you start before that?
No, that was my first business. I started Green Sweep in 2009, so it's been a minute and a half. Very first business, and pretty random, honestly. I was a victim of the 4-hour work week by parents. So I was reading it on a beach in Mexico in like 2007, and I was like, I'm going to go for it. And then fast forward, 6 months, I started a cleaning company.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I can expand on that. I don't know. I mean, it is kind of a funny story, but cleaning was never my like. I love to clean, and I didn't start thinking. I was in the nonprofit world, actually. So I was in nonprofit program management, and my general trajectory was like, because I was pretty driven, like, okay, I'll be an executive director someday, et cetera. And then I was like, I actually don't want to do this. And I kept kind of getting bored and switching jobs. And so decided I should start my own business. And it could have been anything. And I was reading the 4-hour work week truly on a beach in Mexico. And I was like, yeah, I should just do my own thing. And I can bring the values that I have that brought me into the nonprofit world. I can bring them into the for-profit world. I can create people, planet, profit kind of business. It could have been anything. I didn't know what it was going to be. For a while, I was kind of poking around and doing some research. I had certain parameters around it in terms of, like it's got to have low startup costs. I've got to be able to do it. Not high technology focus because I wasn't like, amazing as as a coder or whatever. Or programming. So I had a few different things, and I had hired a cleaning service at my house at the time,
Mhm.
and came home from it because I came back from the beach in Mexico. I'd taken 4 months off. I came back, went back to work in the nonprofit world, hired a cleaning service, and came home one day and couldn't breathe because of the chemicals they had used.
Yeah. Yeah.
I triggered an asthma attack, and I was like, "Oh, I should start an environmentally friendly cleaning company." Like that's literally how my cleaning company idea came about. So
Okay. So when you started, like at the very beginning, aside from the 4-hour work week um, dream, which probably turned into an 80-hour work week, and then you
yeah,
scaled it back. But what was the vision when you started?
the vision was huge, actually, pun intended there. But from the very beginning, it was very big. So I was living, in San Diego at the time. I had a sister here in Albuquerque, and decided, hey, we decided to start the business together. And Albuquerque seemed like a friendlier place to start a business than California,
Mhm.
and so I moved here, and we started it together, and very quickly realized we were better off as sisters than as business partners, and so got it going, and I worked in the business. From like I cleaned, I wanted to know how to do everything from the get go. I did a lot of, some people start and they hire right off the bat and live off of savings and that sort of thing. I didn't have like deep pockets, all kinds of savings. I was working in the nonprofit world, right? So,
Yeah.
so I was scrubbing toilets, and I was waiting tables at the time. I was doing a whole bunch of things as I got it off the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so once you got it going, or let me just ask you, even now, like, what do you love about owning a business? And then what are the things that kind of you could do without?
The things that I love, probably the biggest thing I love is freedom. Like it's like in many senses of the word. So I get to structure and create my life how I want to. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of freedom in that. So and now versus then I can work from anywhere. I don't need to be in Albuquerque to scale my business. I don't need to be here to do that, thankfully. But then I did, So I love the freedom of it. I love the potential that this business gets to be, and it can be on smooth sailing, which of course it has been on smooth sailing at times when I'm just like, we're going to hang out. I'm going to ride my bike. That's all I'm going to do. And we're going to grow, and I'm going to profit, whatever. Or I can decide I'm going to turn the heat up, and we can go crazy and we can grow. So so I love that there's the potential for it to be what I want it to be is there, and it's in my hands and it's in my control. So
Yeah.
that's a huge thing. And the potential of making lots of money, because I love to make lots of money, and I love to spread the money around, because money to me is obviously just a tool for other things, for trips and giving and security and all kinds of things. So I think like the freedom and the opportunity is the stuff I love the most about it.
Mhm.
And coming in close there, as well as the impact that I get to have on other people's lives. So with the cleaning service, it's like I get to impact my staff's lives. We provide fantastic jobs. Like these are traditionally house cleaners, or it's a traditionally an underpaid, underappreciated sort of profession, and we get to professionalize it. We get to offer benefits. We get to like really change the narrative around the profession
Yeah.
and how these people feel about the work that they're doing. Right. So I love that impact that we get to have, and the impact we get to have in the community, and the impact we get to have in our clients. So all of that too.
Yeah. So you're 16, 17 years old um, with the like, did you have to fight uphill to change, like to be changing the cultural perception of house cleaner, and then the wages and the way you charge? Was like
Yeah,
in
there
yeah.
was a lot of years I didn't really. So when I first got into business, I really didn't. I had goals and I had all kinds of things, but I really didn't know how to run a business, And so what the money I made was what was left at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And and I remember sometimes I had cleaners making more than I was making, and I was like, okay, something's
Yeah.
wrong. So eventually I got help, I got coaching, I got mentorship, and figured out how to restructure all of our operations, from what we were charging our clients to how we were paying our staff, to make it better for everyone, basically. More expensive for the client, but at the other end, they get a much more professional service too. So more valuable service. So I got help to do that piece from a respect or professionalizing of it. I've just naturally done that from the beginning. I mean, the service we provide of cleaning people's homes, like, yes, it's a clean home, and that's incredibly wonderful, but it's much more about that. It's about the space. It's about the sanctity of a home and what that provides people. And then also the extra time that they have to go and do and connect and play and do whatever it is that they want to do in their spare time. Right. So I think that we do some of the most valuable work out there. And I've always thought that and always instilled that in my team. So
in your customer base, it's all residential, right? Or primarily residential?
Primarily, we're about 95% res at this time. We used to be 50-50, but now we're like,
Cool. In that residential, with your clients, do you have any clients that have they're like super fans? They're like Green Street super fans.
Yeah, of course. And they've been with us for like ever, like, I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, we definitely have those super fans. I mean, and I wouldn't say that we don't have like super fans that are on Facebook shouting from the rooftops. I would like a few of those. but we definitely have super fans who are just, they know who we are. I mean, they know what we stand for. They value how we operate. Some of these people that have been with us forever, they know me because I went out and gave their in-home estimate 15 years ago, right? So they're very much connected into the whole thing. Yeah,
that's cool. How I was talking to some of my team, and they're like, "How do you know this guy? And how do you know this guy? Like, all these customers?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're all my friends now. Like, these are men and women. Like, I've been to their house for dinner. They've been to my home. We've become, not just you clean my stuff, see ya,
right? Totally,
but build real relationships over time."
Yeah, that's one of the best things about. I mean, that's one of the best things about the business too, right? Is the relationship you get to build, for sure.
That's cool. What was a piece of advice that really helped you when you were new in the business?
I think I don't know where it came from, but it was something I took and knew, and that was to not diversify too much, not add too many verticals, as people call them now, right? But like when we started, I was like, okay, our first customer actually was commercial, and I sold half my commercial business about 8 years ago. So and it was a bigger business than the residential. So we were like 50-50 for a while on commercial and residential. And there are a lot of different aspects to commercial. Obviously, you can, and the same with residential. You can get into carpet cleaning and window cleaning and all, you can get into all these other add-ons or pieces of it. And I was like, I'll just talk about the house cleaning. We clean houses. Like, that's what we do. I can maybe sub some of this out or refer some of this out, but I'm not going to try to take that on. I'm going to just go deep and go really good at the house cleaning piece of it. And then the commercial cleaning, just the general upkeep and maintenance of it. And I think, I had one customer who said to me one time, "Hey, like, you're already in our houses, like your cleaners are getting to know our pets. Like, you should consider going into like, the pet care." And I was like, and at the time, like, I wasn't even like making that much money, but I was like, you're freaking crazy. Like, no way. Right. Like, and so that would probably be a piece of advice. I don't know where I got it, but I was like, stay the course. Like, there's enough to do. If you just stay, there's enough to do. There's enough money to be made. There's enough jobs to be created, enough impact to have if you just stay this course, right? Rather than diverting your attention everywhere. That was very powerful early on, and it continues to be.
No, that's very sage advice, because I see too frequently, and myself included, like when you're broke and hungry and it's new, like, I got to make sure I make rent and feed children. And somebody says, "Oh, would you mind mowing my grass while you're here, clean the windows? Or would you do that?" I'm like, I just answered, "Yes." "Oh, sure. Yeah, we do that. We do everything."
Right. Of course. And then you figure it out. And I mean, there was one time, so when we were doing the commercial side for a while, at the beginning, people were like, "Do you strip VCT and wax VCT?" And I was like, "Sure." And like, all of a sudden, I'm on a Saturday, I'm on one of those machines and I'm spinning around in this wax, right?
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, we made some good money off of it. It was a very good learning experience. And I was like, okay, we don't do this. This is not actually something we do because we don't do it very well, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. I mean, and those are decisions you do make early on when you're trying to feed your family. I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, then in your growth and in your journey, at what point did you realize with Clean Sweep that or Green Sweep? I keep
It's all right.
conflating the names.
That's all right.
Like, when did you go, damn, we've got something special here, and you see other people struggling with it, and you want to start teaching and helping?
Yeah, I think so I was when I had hired a coach and I got into a coaching community like maybe in 2018, somewhere in there. So a lot of years in, and I had other mentorship and coaching along the way. And
Mhm.
it honestly, they would be like, "You just need systems," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, like help me out." It was not specific coaching. It was not, and so it wasn't until I got into really specific coaching around house cleaning that I was able to really see some massive changes and make some money. And as part of that program, I ended up being, and that was CBF. And as part of that program, I was really successful with implementation. I just took it all. I had reached this sort of burnout point where I was like, okay, I'm going to invest massively in myself and my business right now. This is going to be my last hurrah. Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to quit and I'm going to get like a sales job. Like that's where I was with it. So, which is funny. I thought I was going to get a sales job because I'm not even that great at sales. But I'm like, but anyway, so I was very successful at the implementation. I had major growth, and that program they needed coaches, and so I got involved in coaching in that world for a little bit, and
Okay.
then eventually was like, actually, I'm going to do my own thing, and I backed out of all. I moved away from all that and sort of went my own direction. But I think that it wasn't until really a few I mean it something special, like green soup being something special, I think probably was a few years ago, honestly, after many, many years of being in business.
Mhm.
So maybe 4 years ago, I was like, oh wow, like I am able to make what I consider a very good living, and I'm working 4 hours a week on my company. Like this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
like this is the kind of the dream. So probably around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it's good. You have over your team, you've got over 30 employees. I don't know how
Yeah, we got 30, around 35, 38, somewhere in there, yeah.
okay. And most folks in the home services, like they don't usually get past 5 or 6 employees. That's normal. Most are running by themselves, or they're like a guy and a buddy,
Yeah.
but don't grow and scale that much. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, or the problems you had to solve to gain that kind of growth, like to get past 5, 10, 20 employees?
Marketing, of course, for
Mhm.
sure. Figuring out, so I mean, it's like hand in hand. So your marketing sort of spend and where you're going with that. The same time with your recruiting and how you're bringing staff in. So balancing those two things, and it remains a very imperfect thing that we do, but we've gotten much better at it. But those would be the biggest hurdles. And I didn't start green sweep to clean houses myself. I started it to work the 4-hour work week, like Tim Ferriss said I could do in 2007 when I read that book. So
Yeah.
I wanted to build something that was profitable, did really good stuff in the community, and did really great stuff for our employees, and was good for the planet, obviously, too, with the green piece. And so I guess, so for me to make a living and be able to do that, it needed to get to a certain place. Like I had big goals from the beginning. It needed to have a certain number of staff members, a certain revenue point. So um, I think, did you ask me what the tipping point was?
No, it was like in that growth, like what were
Yeah.
some of the biggest challenges or
Yeah.
problems you had to solve, and not just once, they had to stay solved
Yeah.
to facilitate that growth?
I would say marketing and recruiting would be the biggest ones. Those would be the biggest ones. We've got the cleaning systems, we've got that, but then it's like, okay, how do you make sure you have enough leads coming in the door? How do you make sure you're converting? So it's just those sorts of challenges that exist in every single business. It's not unique to a cleaning service, but
Yeah.
and also getting over like I spend on marketing. I am not afraid to spend money on marketing for growth, and I've done that um, for many years. I will take some of what I would consider profit or my income, and I'll pour it into marketing at the beginning of the year to give us a good push to get
Yeah.
us launched to the next set. And it pays off. It's an expense, but it's an investment too in the growth of the business.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of so I'm going to back up. You started your business. It's not from the normal perspective or the usual perspective. Most people in home services that we interact with, maybe they're working for somebody else, or they knew how to do a job. They were the technician that said, I'm going to start a business.
Right.
And they find out pretty quickly, like, yeah, I can clean the floor, but I don't know how to get a lead.
Right.
Like, how do you get new business? How do you hire a person? So in the coaching and stuff that you do, what are the biggest pain points that you see that are like common repeated trouble spots that people have to overcome?
Sure. So in the coaching world, so now I tend to coach business owners that are already established, so not in the startup phase.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest things I see for people that I work with are profit. They've grown, but they are not as profitable as they could be or would like to be. Another one is freedom from that business. So they are the bottleneck in many aspects of the business. So they are, and as a result of that, they're working all like they're not turning their work brain off, like and because of technology and because like post COVID and working from home versus working from the office, like it all just gets mixed in, and so people don't have breaks from work. So they're really tied in. So they're not as profitable. They're not as free as they would like to be. And also, like because of that whole mix in, they're like, wait, what am I doing? Like, what's the point of all this? So I see an awful lot of that, and those are the things that I help people fix now. And I think that the cool thing about being in business now versus even 10 years ago starting, or 15 years ago, even if you are like, hey, I know how to clean, or hey, I know how to wash windows, I'm going to start a business. You can get online, and you can get on YouTube and all kinds of places, and you can buy courses that are going to tell you exactly how to exactly how to price a job, exactly how to find a new employee and where to go step by step. Like it's very cool. You can find it all out there. It was not there all out. It was definitely not all out there when I was starting. And I was probably a lot more, well, I wouldn't say old fashioned, but it was more like, networking was a baseline for our marketing when we first got started. Although we had a website, we did all that stuff immediately, of course, but I didn't come in with high business acumen at all when I was doing it, and was really confused for a while because I think I'm a pretty smart person. And I was like, why am I so dumb at this? Like, why am I not, like, the purpose of business is to make money. I'm not making money. Like I could just, I could fire all my employees and I could just clean and I'd make more money than I am right now with 10 employees. Right. So anyway, it's great because there's so much information out there now on exactly how to do it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think the first piece of how to market your small business thing I ever got my hands on was like a Joe Polish newsletter that started in the late 90s. And there was no YouTube. There was no access to information now. I get so excited, from our perspective, seeing a lot of new business owners and guys who've been at it for a long time, and the huge that, like, I see guys that start and then year 3, they're past 7 figures.
Isn't that crazy? I know.
No.
I know.
Man.
It's awesome to see. I know it's so much faster now. There's so much. It's like a finely tuned system now. Like if you can just take it and follow it. And it's interesting. When I started, I was like, I'm going to do this all myself. I'm going to figure it out. Blah blah blah. And then after a lot of years of, doing that and not being very profitable in a lot of ways, I was like, just tell me how to do it. And because there's certain parts of doing business that you don't want to get creative on, right?
Yeah, it's really boring.
Yeah.
That bothers me because I don't like boring, but I've decided to love boring in my business. Like,
there's money there.
Do this.
Exactly.
Stop touching the buttons.
Yeah.
Well, when like with people in that you coach that are running a more mature business or at least an established business, and you said the biggest challenge are profit, freedom. There's probably a few others. They are the bottleneck. Do how do you coach them? How do you help them solve that? Is it just mindset, or is like here's a set of tools you actually need to pay attention and follow a process?
It's a combination. So a lot of the work I do is mindset for sure. And I mean, I have a whole curriculum that I lead people through, and that's sort of a personal development curriculum, and I pair that with I have a leadership curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's paired, and so I kind of bring people down a path and I customize it as they need. Some people need different things, but we definitely start by talking about some of the most pressing like business challenges. So for a lot of people, it's money. So we will just I'll be like, okay, like call number 3, like let's bring your P&L and let's comb through and let's see what we can do. And then it gets very specific about what to cut, what to do, so that they can like start making more instantly.
Yeah.
Paired with a lot of mindset work for sure. Yeah, it's a combination of things.
Okay. With your leadership curriculum, is that something? Do you do that with your own company, like for your team? Have a leadership development plan to help your staff rise up? Or
That is the next step. I don't do it.
okay.
I don't do it, but that is I'm sort of developing pieces of that for them. And I have a whole course and it's all recorded and it's speaking to owners, but there's no reason it couldn't also speak to managers and leaders in a company. So
Okay.
I do plan on doing that with my folks for sure.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. That has been a big topic the last couple of years in the industry. Is like how much you like leadership development, personal development, leadership development for your employees to help them rise up. And it's interesting that the some of the feedback we get on that. Some people are like, no, I don't want to teach my employee, to become leaders, and they'll start their own company. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
dude, seriously, let's just
That's such a scarcity mindset,
yeah.
like, and if they do, then let them go start their own companies. Who cares? There's more business to be had. But I am one of the biggest shifts I've made in developing the leaders in my company is switching from thinking I'm managing them to I'm coaching them.
Mhm.
And that's been really fun just as a switch in myself because by coaching, I'm more pouring into them. I'm coming at it from a different place rather than a this kind of place,
Yeah.
like potentially. So it's been a real shift. And also just in terms of how much I enjoy it because I don't enjoy managing. Yeah. And most of us don't, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like most of us don't. And then all of a sudden we're managing all these people. And so I'm like, okay. So I've shifted to thinking about it as managing, of course, as to leading, but then even more, I've shifted it into more of like, I'm coaching these people. And I'm empowering them to get better. And that's been a massive shift in how I speak to them, how I manage them essentially, and what they're able to then bring back and do with the team. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, that's a great distinction to go from managing to coaching. I like that. I like that a lot.
And if you're feeling really like things are really tight and you're like and constricted because and you don't have money and you don't have whatever it is, it's much harder to be in that place, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm fortunate with where my company is now, and I'm like, okay, we have room for people to learn, we have room for some mistakes, and at the end of the day, I'm not interested, nor will I return to day-to-day operations, right? So
Mhm.
so for that to be the case, I need to be operating from a different place with folks.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. With probably part of that, I mean, that you're talking about margin in a way, like you got to have enough margin in your time, in your headspace, and in your business to allow you to help coach people into growth and stuff. How did your pricing evolve over time? Like,
My pre well, we so my that with house cleaning, we're a solo cleaner model versus some people have teams. We have solos,
mhm.
so we use it's like a pay for performance kind of system is what we use for paying our staff. And so when our prices go up, with it allows us to and I know it might be weird to start from this place actually, but part of having providing really good paying jobs, and that's a very basic commitment that I have as an owner and that we have as a company, that drives our pricing structure for our clients too. So it's almost like done in reverse, right? So I know that I want our staff to make a certain amount, which means that we need to charge a certain amount, and so we're constantly testing the waters with that and testing the limits of pricing.
Mhm.
And we're doing it right now. We're in a huge drive to really focus our attention on weekly and biweekly recurring.
Yeah.
And we're heavier on the monthly, and we're like weekly and biweekly weekly. So we still have monthly, we're still selling it, not as actively, but our prices are way higher there than they used to be. So we're just pushing the limits on that.
Okay.
And the other one. So we keep bumping prices regularly. We test them regularly. Sometimes we do surge pricing, right? If it's a high season or whatever, just like Uber does when they're really
Yeah.
busy, we'll do surge pricing. But so we test that stuff constantly. And then when our conversions, when we start to hear, whoa, you're way more than Molly Mays, or you're way more than whatever, then we'll stop and we'll stabilize, right? So we test it regularly.
Yeah.
And when that goes up, that's able to trickle down to the staff because we can adjust what we're paying them. We have different tiers of pay for our field technicians. So then it's almost like a direct, we're not commission based. So it's not like a direct raise, but it lets us do raises more often.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. What are some of the principles that you live by or that you also use in your business?
Well, so our values at Green Sweep are kindness, integrity, community, growth. Yeah, kindness and excellence. I'm like, we're missing one. Kindness, integrity, growth, and excellence. We changed excellence recently. It was professionalism, but we're changing it to excellence. So that's why I paused for a second. And those are really some of my personal values for sure inserted. Without, like, fun is not in there. And so I am working hard to be more playful and bring more fun to the everyday at Green Sweep. I bring it in my coaching, I bring it in my everyday, but I'm like, I gotta bring more of this. Is like, what's the point if this isn't fun? Like, what's the point, right? So bringing more of that in there. And of course, like living bright, like my coaching brand is like, it's like to live bright. It's bright stands for something. It's like a life that's bold, a life that's real and authentic, intentional, growing, healthy, thriving. So that's what it means to live bright. And so that's definitely imbued in Green Sweep as well and in our values. And it's certainly my guiding principle, like every single day. It's like I am, and it doesn't always mean orange. I'm wearing orange today. It doesn't always mean that, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna be real, like, intentional, giving, healthy, thriving. So of course the overall thing is like bigger, brighter, more fun, like energetic, all of that. However, that also part of the authenticity and realness of brightness is like honoring when you're not feeling that way too,
Yeah. Well, I have to say, from my perspective, there's enough boring and average in the world that we don't need a lot more of that.
No.
Like, let's live bold and bright and real.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
No, all right. That's good. All right, let's shift gears a little bit to CleanCon. The guy that got out of prison does not have a tattoo. This guy. I would hire this guy. No, CleanCon. I know you and Drew and
Holly.
Okay, Holly are working on that, and this is the first event. So why another event? Why do we need CleanCon?
Okay. Well, Sid, you might not know this, but this happened at the Huge.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
You did or did not?
Did not. No.
Yeah, this happened there. We were like, okay, the Huge convention and cleaning and cocktails, like these are amazing events. Like they are now on my calendar every year, but they're the commercial space. I'm not even in the commercial space, right? Yeah. But these are amazing events because of how they bring people together, how people learn together. A lot of times you're hearing this, often you're sitting in the same rooms. There are some breakout sessions, obviously, with the Huge and stuff, but like there's so much information, and it's a real variety of information. Anything from marketing to operations to sales to mindset. There's a whole bunch of different things happening at those conventions. And there's really good connection points at the huge. Like it's so good at getting people to know each other. I keep going like, I don't know if this you could do video or not, but anyway, like there's so much of getting to know and walking away with actual friendships and walking away with like real relationships and colleagues that you can then lean on or ask questions of after time goes by. So I think the huge and cleaning cocktails are so good at that. So we were there at this event last summer,
Yeah.
and we were like, God, there's nothing like this in residential. Like there are events that are focused just on the residential cleaning industry there, but like the ones that exist are part of coaching programs that
Yeah.
are typically pretty expensive, and there's not a standalone event that's not tied into that. There is ISSA, which everyone knows. There's a residential component, but we are definitely like the redheaded stepchild of that. Like residential, I think has like, which is probably really not PC to say, but anyway, that's what we are at that event. Like, I think there were a total of 85 people from residential at
Yeah.
ISSA this past year, like very tiny, and there's thousands of people at this event, right?
Wow. Okay.
So we were like, okay, we need something different. And like, we want to create something closer to the cleaning cocktails huge feel, but only for residential. And so it was part of the inspiration for it. So that's what we've done. It's coming up in Indianapolis, and our focus, our sort of tenets are connection, innovation, and education. So connection, innovation, and education. And that's what it's all sort of structured around, and everything is focused just on house cleaning company owners of all sizes. So we've got some really cool things planned for it. So that's what CleanCon is.
No, that's great. When I first heard about it, I saw Drew had posted about it, and I immediately called him, and I'm like, first question, are you crazy? Hosting events a lot of work. But then tell me more about it. And you guys, I mean, I'm excited for it. First of all, you hosted it really close to my birthday, which is great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know that was probably the motivation, and you couldn't get the exact day, but it's close. So we'll
Okay. All right. Good.
But you guys, you've got a great keynote. You got Michael McAllowitz coming to speak, which is excellent.
I'm pumped. I'm so pumped about that. Yeah.
Was he one of your early mentors? You talked about money and profits, and I was like, that sounds like McAllowitz talking.
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, from afar, he was. And I read Profit First, and I read that in 2018, and that was a turning point for my business. And I had read other business books, but I read that when I was like, holy cow, what am I doing? Like I'm doing all wrong. Right. So it was, and then actually I got to, I saw him, I was at a different event last summer, and he came and spoke at that event, and I met him there, which was awesome. And then when we started planning CleanCon, I was like, let's get Mike McAllowitz if we can. So I reached out, got in touch with his people, and, it turned out we could do it, which is amazing because, his whole sort of thing is to eradicate, his whole philosophy and mission is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. And there's a lot of that in our industry,
God, yeah.
I'm psyched to have him there talking about it. So it's a lot of work though. You're right.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
We're like, what are we doing? But like, it needed to be done. So we're excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And then if you're listening, CleanCon is March 16th, 17th, and 18th in Indianapolis, and it's cleancon.com, right?
No, it's MyCleanCon.
MyCleanCon. Okay. Yeah. We'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, it's focused solely on residential cleaning business owners. And we do the ticket prices, we've kept them very affordable. I think they might be $4.99 now, but that's for like 2.5 days of programming and closeness. It's going to be a great event. Like I have no doubt. I just one of my business partners this morning, we were all texting, and someone said, "Hey, in 6 weeks we're going to be finished with CleanCon. We're going to be finished with our first conference." And I was like, "Holy shit! Oh my god, what I have to do between now and then? Like, oh my god, So in addition to all my other two businesses, so yeah.
I always feel like the conference that you get the planning and you get the event itself, and then afterward, but it's like kayaking a river, and it's like this is nice, and it's just all easy, and then the rapids are coming, and you can't stop it, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
And then you hit the rapids, and all it is like, just stay alive.
Totally, totally.
And then it's over, and you're like, oh, well, we're alive, so this is
Right?
great. Like,
Let's
it's
do it
good.
again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Get back out. What's the balance? Yeah, I was looking over a CleanCon website, and it looks like you've got a lot of panels as well as breakout speakers. Is that pretty good balance? I love a good panel, by the way.
So actually, we don't. So we have one keynote, and that's Mike McAllowitz, and we're gonna have almost an entire morning with him. And then the rest is panels and masterminding.
Yeah.
So we were like, because we don't have breakout rooms, we're keeping everyone together, and so we just decided to go full panel. But so we have panels around different topics, of course, and we've got a ton of great speakers that have applied to be on those panels.
Mhm.
So working out those pieces right now. And with some other stuff just tossed in. So it's not just sitting and listening and whatever. So the panels will be pretty interactive, but no breakout sessions in this first one. We're not doing it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I wish you all the best with that. And actually,
Thanks.
as soon as I heard about it, I was like, check the calendar. I'm like,
No. Come on, we'll sing happy birthday to you. Come
I know,
on.
right? I could
Yeah.
be out there. There's a place called Mexico I'll be a lot closer to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there in a week and a half in a place called Mexico as well. So I hear
You're
you.
gonna be in Salulitas. Is that where you like to go in that area?
Well, I like to go a bunch of places, but this time I'm going to a meditation retreat. Good memory. Yeah, right
Yeah.
near Sayulita. Like it's San Pancho. Yeah. So a little town close to like north of Puerto Vallarta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
That's
about
a
you?
cool
Where are you
area.
going?
I'll be in Cabo.
Ah,
My wife is doing this is her second year. She's hosting a Pilates retreat at a private resort on the Pacific side. So
okay.
she's there for 5 or 6 days doing that. At the same time, I'm doing our mastermind in Nashville, and then I'm going to fly down, and we got a place in Todos Santos, just a
Oh,
just a
nice.
bungalow by the beach, and I have 2 days to just chill, and then I go pick up my wife when she's done, and we get to spend time together for a
Oh,
few days before getting back in the fray. So
amazing. Todos Santos is great. And I'm gonna need to get that information about your wife's Pilates retreat because I think my wife would actually really like to go to that sometime. Not this year, but yeah.
right
uh,
on.
That's awesome.
Well, cool. Well, let me our last question, and
Okay.
is just what's a challenge that you're facing now, or a connection that you would like to make, whether it's a particular person or a person in a certain industry or something that perhaps we could be helpful in facilitating or connecting the dots.
Oh man, that is a great question. Connection. I'm gonna have to think about that one, Sid. To be honest, I really appreciate that question and that offer. I would say right now my biggest challenge though as a business owner of three actually businesses, and in massive growth mode with each of them is still finding space, which is so important to me. Like, and it's such a big part of the Live Bright philosophy, like having the space for the chill and the enjoyment and the beach and not just going like work, work, work. That's
Yeah.
probably my biggest challenge right now that I'm getting there. I mean, some weeks are worse than others. And some weeks, like I'm going off to Mexico to a meditation retreat for a week. So that means that the week before is a little crazier. Right. But
Sure.
figuring out that piece operating at this level because I'm at a new level of operation. So every time there's like an up leveling, it's like things get thrown out of whack a little. So that's where I am with this one. But I'm going to think about the connection point. So thank you for that.
Yeah, please do that. And honestly, that's more of a personal question, but really like to help in any, be helpful in any way we can. I
Thank
can.
you. Thank
I'm
you.
not me, I'm me. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Yeah.
and and you kind of brought this up, but with running a business at any level, anytime you have a worthy project, there is no end.
Yeah.
It's like the Instagram feed. Like you can scroll forever and it's not going to stop. So you have to be very clear and draw a distinction and prioritize and show this is where it turns off.
Yeah.
And turn it off so you can show up well for your spouse, for your family, for your
Totally.
community, for yourself. And I don't know. I have a problem with the whole term work-life balance because I don't think it's ever just balance. It goes, it's like staffing versus marketing. It's like
Right.
it
Right.
just goes like this, but it doesn't. Hopefully, it doesn't fall apart. Um,
Yeah, it's I had last year I know we're almost out of time, but I had some health constraints, like not life threatening or anything, but some health constraints that really helped me focus. And so sometimes
Mhm,
and basically I was like really, really exhausted. I had massive exhaustion. Um for a bunch of reasons, but I wasn't able to work my normal amount as a result.
mhm,
And by my normal amount, I'm not talking about 50 hours a week. I'm not even talking about 40 hours a week. Like I was like, because I don't like overworking. I like to train for marathons and travel and do all these other things, right? So I wasn't able to. So it really helped hyper focus me. And so sometimes I use that filter now, even though I feel really good, to
mhm.
hyper focus my attention just on the biggest things, so that then I get home. When I go home, I'm really being very intentional right now. And this, I'm home by 5.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at it, but like really working on that to be more present at home, right? So
yeah.
it's an ongoing thing.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks very much first for your time and being gracious and sharing with everybody. If you want to get in touch with Molly or follow her, learn more, there's mollymoran.com.
Yep.
And then all this will be in the show notes. You've got my CleanCon coming up. And how do people find you on, where are you on Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, Facebook,
Twitter?
Instagram, Molly Moran Live.
Okay.
Molly Moran Live. So yeah.
And your podcast is the
The
Live
Live
Bright
Right Show.
Show.
The Live Right Show, yeah. So
Okay.
that's on that's on, you can find that on my website, but it's on, Spotify and all the Apple, all those places.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thanks again. And we'll wrap it up. I look forward to seeing you and talking to you again real soon.
Thank you. Hey, Sid, thanks so much. What a pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, of course.
Keep doing the great things at the Huge.